So we did a vlog in March, the beginning of lockdown. We've tried twice since to do a follow-up vlog, and we failed both times. We had technical trouble both times, and we also ended up arguing a little bit.
Right.
Now we're going to try again.
You-
And we thought we'd try and talk about things we find challenging about using social media, or maybe using social media wisely, or pros and cons of social media. So it's not just a moaning fest, because there's good things about social media as well.
Yep. I'm good on the good things.
Yeah.
My optimistic side likes to talk about the good things. We just had a message from a therapist in Rwanda who wants to join a supervision group that we do around compassionate approaches to voices. So that's really amazing that social media can help us connect with people all around the world and learn from each other. So things like that, it's like, it's worth it.
Well, we don't quite know how they found. They said they found the Engaging with Voices videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
But how they found them, it could have been through social media. But yeah.
I'd say YouTube for me is social media as well.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose so. I guess I'm a bit more conservative, and it's like Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Neither of us know anything about TikTok, which is apparently what you do if you're social media savvy. So we use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram sometimes, YouTube, blogs, which is sort of a social media platform as well, isn't it?
I've been experimenting on my own as well with just making kind of fun exercise, dance videos. But also we did some mindful minutes. I've done more than you, but there's hopefully some from you in the pipeline.
Yeah.
And that's again, like, we were trying to accommodate. Social media likes brief things, so I'm quite interested in trying to, respond to that. So we tried to make these mindful minutes, so these minute-long mindful exercises. But you really struggled with that.
Yeah. So we tried a couple of times to make some. I tried on my own, and we also tried together to make some videos with me, and I just couldn't do 1 minute. I'm just not.
You're not a 1 minute person.
I'm just not a 1 minute person.
Whereas me, I'm quite, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Brief and to the point.
Yeah.
Whereas you're more slow cooking kind of person.
Oh, really? Definitely, yeah. How long has it even taken me to get around to, finding a way to be involved with the mindful minute? I think we're sort of getting there, talking about it, that I will feel able to do some mindful minute videos, and that's taken like 4 months or something. Yeah, so definitely slow cooking.
Yeah.
And that's not very social media friendly. My pace is not very.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not very compatible with the pace on social media.
I had an experience of putting out a video that some people found offensive, and then I got kind of criticized on social media for that, because the music in the background was offensive. Some people found the music offensive, and I didn't know that that this music had this reputation for being,
in some circles,
offensive. So although I took down the video eventually after a couple of days, I wasn't perhaps responsive quick enough to avoid people wanting to let me know how disappointed they were in me. And so you get this kind of group shaming experience, which was, for some reason, it really shakes you up. It really shook me up and shook you up, and you weren't even involved.
I wasn't involved, but I got actually really anxious about using social media after that, and then closed down. I closed down my Twitter. I stopped using Instagram. I haven't really blogged much since I closed down or paused one of my Facebook pages about hearing voices. So I just became really conscious of how vulnerable you can make yourself for sharing things, if people don't agree with you or so I found that really scary actually, and I've sort of slowly finding courage to use social media maybe a bit more. I've published my Facebook page about hearing voices again, and I'm going to put stuff on there. That's the plan anyway. But yeah, so I guess what we talked about so far is that one of the good things about social media is that it can connect you globally to people who share the same passions and interests as you, which is really exciting. The pace of social media can, suit some people more than it suits others, but it can be useful either way, I think. You don't have to put stuff out all the time, but it seems to be geared to that the more you put out, the more the algorithms share your things so that you get more responses. I think there's something about that if you don't put things up regularly on Facebook, it seems to you get less and less responses. It's weird. It feels a bit like you don't have much control of who sees what. So I find that a bit tricky because it's a nice space. You can feel like you've got a platform and a voice on social media that you wouldn't have otherwise. Which I like, which is why I have the Facebook page about hearing voices. It's a personal space for me to share something I feel passionate about.
How do you find that, say, because, I've done some work in the media or whatever, and I'm a, qualified professional and, got a bit of a following. Yeah. If I put something out, it might get more viewings than if you put something out. How do you find that? Because I think people struggle sometimes with. Yeah. I struggle sometimes if I put something up on Facebook and I get
nobody
one like or something or nothing. How do you find that?
I think it really messes us up, that whole liking culture, because I know, so I've got a lot of friends who tell me that they see my stuff but they don't like things out of principle. So actually the liking, so it's just I just trust that. I think my approach is that I trust that people who are interested, it will reach people one way or another. We can't control that. How many likes you get or how many comments you get doesn't necessarily reflect whether you reach someone to whom it makes a lot of sense what you're saying and they feel it resonates with them, But that is really challenging about social media. It's sometimes there's a lack of feedback and a lack of connection.
Yeah, you put stuff out and you've no idea whether people have connected with it or not.
No.
So you
or
don't
understood it or misunderstood it or.
Whereas face to face, you kind of get immediate feedback.
If
something's going down well or not.
And you could develop a conversation about, you have a dialogue about when you're face to face. You can't often that's really tricky on social media.
And the same with Zoom. I mean, we do I do a self-help group, peer support group. I'm part of a peer support group around hearing voices. I help facilitate, and it's not the same as face to face, but it does serve a purpose, and people get a lot out of it. But there's something about face to face we miss in this time of lockdown.
Definitely.
It's like when you get a meaningful face-to-face conversation, it's like, yeah, it's nice. And I really feel for people out there with the isolation. And people I speak to aren't on social media, don't know how to use it. They're even more excluded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But Zoom, how do you find Zoom?
I don't know. I read. So somebody did a workshop on pros and cons of Zoom, or how to use Zoom wisely when you teach or when you do meetings and stuff. And I read it. I didn't attend the workshop, but I read a transcript from some of what came up during that, and I found that quite useful because generally I don't like it. Would you mean like? So there's different ways of using Zoom. There's one-to-one, but there's group meetings, Zoom, and like things I find challenging about group meetings with Zoom is when there's more than 15 people, you have pages. You have to scroll through pages to see who's there. So you know, there's a weird sense of, there's maybe 30 or 50 people there, but you can't see their faces properly. Maybe you end up watching a couple of people. And I don't know how I feel about that. I find the chat functioning actually quite tricky. So people chatting while somebody is talking. So, and even if I close it, it still pops up at the bottom and distracts me. So I find that difficult. Well, I can see the point of it. I can see that it's useful to be able to give feedback and share appreciation and share resources. But personally, I can't read the comments and follow the chat as well as listen to somebody talking or somebody sharing music or whatever is going on. So I feel ambivalent about the chat function. What I do like about, which I wish I could get better at, is I like that you can switch your camera off. And I like that I can switch my audio off. So basically, I can attend something, but have my privacy when I need it. I like that. And I like that there's less focus on how we look, how we appear, because you can only see so much of us. And, this is, so like in this transcript or this, that was one of the things I really took away from that. The positives is that you're in a safe space because you're in your home and you have choices about being on the video or being on the audio or not. So you can, there's a great sense of choice for some.
You're doing a dance class, aren't you, on Zoom?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to feel about that.
Dance syndrome.
Yeah, they do it really well. I like how they're hosting using Zoom to host.
And you wouldn't be able to meet up with them because they're in Preston.
Yeah.
So Zoom is brilliant in that way.
Yeah.
So there's all these pros and cons with all these mediums. Like Twitter, just don't piss anyone off.
Yeah, you really need to be aware of what the platform encourages, because I think the attitudes on Twitter or the way of engaging on Twitter is different than it is on Facebook and again on Instagram. You just get different vibes. There's like different what's socially acceptable on the different platforms.
And I think it's changed. Like I can remember 5 or 6 years ago, for me, like Facebook being more unsafe, feeling more unsafe, and whereas maybe because I've limited who I'm friends with more, but people seem to have learnt a bit, because Facebook's been around quite a while, so maybe we're learning ways to. I don't know. It depends probably what forums you go on. I could still go into forums where, like Facebook groups where people are putting each other down and stuff.
So being discerning and being aware of what each platform offers and how you use it. How much do you use it? Do you use Facebook for groups? I mainly use Facebook for staying connected to local businesses and local events. That's actually the main reason I'm on Facebook. And then I've got another Facebook account which I deactivate for long periods of times, which I mainly use for work. So when I have something if we're doing work related stuff, I might activate that Facebook account because that's where my work network is, and then use it to promote things or share things with people in my work network. But actually I try and limit how much. I've got about 50 or 60 friends on my personal Facebook account, and I actually don't use it much apart from knowing what's going on locally, which is very good for, it's definitely, quite a lot of local businesses don't have a proper website. They got their Facebook pages as their main online presence.
I guess I've used it more in lockdown to communicate with family, I guess, or and friends. So not being able to see my parents, I could put up pictures of the walk I've been on or a film, and they can watch that. So I've put more emphasis into doing things like that, like journalism in a way of my life, and then putting it up on Facebook or something, and as a way to connect with people I met in India as well. It was a way to connect with them. But it does end up, you pointed this out the other day, it sort of lends itself more to individualism. Like this is me doing my thing, because it's not Face's book.
it's not.
It's Facebook.
It's not like.
I mean, Rebecca, a friend of ours, she's got just a picture of the sea for her image.
Yeah.
And she then, I think it was a mountain. Right? So she's really sort of challenging that idea a bit just with the image. I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But
that's always been one of my main reasons for being on Facebook, was to stay connected with friends and family. And at the end of this month, my mum is deactivating her Facebook account, and I'm a little bit anxious about that, actually, because I don't get to see my mum often. I see her a couple of times a year, and so our main way of keeping in touch is actually through Facebook and through Messenger. Obviously, we can still email each other and message each other and text each other.
Why is she doing that?
That is a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
I think it's I've done it. I mean, I just saw somebody come back on after 6 months and tell everyone they were 6 months pregnant, and that they've done a lot of connecting with themselves. And I think it does create space when you limit or completely stop using social media. Create space to breathe. And it's like when I gave up telly in the 90s. It's the modern equivalent, isn't it? Really.
When I take breaks from Facebook, it's to sort of stop that, because I notice that I'm sort of mindlessly scrolling through things that I've seen 10 times already. So there's something sort of compulsive about checking Facebook, even if there's,
And you notice a sort of sinking feeling.
Yeah, anxiety.
Not being satisfied. Trying to scratch an itch and it's not quite working.
Yeah. But I'm gonna miss my mum's updates with flowers and stuff she's knitting and pictures from her garden. But hopefully she'll just send me that on email. I think one of the reasons she's doing it is because she wants to encourage herself to have more personal contact with people. Yeah. Like you say, that thing about posting something and you just sort of send it out there, and sometimes you get responses, sometimes you don't, but it's actually not a very personal, because you're not writing to one person, you're not starting a dialogue with one person or sharing something with one person, so it's not very, it's not yeah, like when you write a letter to someone, you have them in mind, don't you? So how you write and what you write is flavored by your relationship with that person. But when we post something online and we're not aiming it at anybody, it doesn't have that flavor. So I suspect that's what she's hoping for, is to have more personal interactions with people, meaningful personal interactions with people, because like you say, not being on Facebook could create space for that.
Yeah. Right, so you've got a Zoom call.
I do. No, I've got an online call with a friend.
With a long distance friend.
Yeah, and this is where I love it. Living in a different country to my long-term friends, it's amazing to be able to talk with them.
So if you've held out to the end, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And be in touch.
Someone.
Or not.